Hey everyone, how's it going? Octopus here and welcome back to evercrisis. We're going to be talking about the Final Fantasy VII crossover collaboration. We're going to be going over Red 13, Tifa, what's hidden in the notices, and talking about if this is the right banner for you guys. There's a lot of choices to be made here. There is an increase into the meta, but I want to tell you guys straight up that you can do anything in this game if you focus on a character. Focus on that character. It's your favorite. Build that character up. It doesn't matter if it's not the strongest. It doesn't matter if it doesn't look as good as the others. You can use that character. So pull for whatever character you guys want to play with. And this is proven over and over, not by myself, but other people as well. I have a no overboost account that beats all the content that I need to. My first main account uses Murasami Cloud, which was the first banner in the game. And that cloud is still super powerful. Any Arcanum setup can be super powerful, right? If you just focus on a character, you can just jump over tons of content. With that being said, let's jump in and talk about this collaboration, banner, and everything. I'm going to start off with Red 13 here and a couple of the little notices that you guys need to be aware of so you make a better decision on what you're pulling for. Red came with a new costume, but not a weapon on this banner. So Tifa has a costume, a weapon, and then Red 13 has a costume there. There is a Red 13 weapon, but it's not out yet. So in the notices under this crossover banner, right over here, it says the new Red 13 exclusive weapon will not be appearing in this draw, which indicates there's going to be a Red 13 weapon that probably plays along with this costume. But it's not in this one specifically. It might be in the next crossover one, or it might be after the crossover so we can wishlist it later on. That's up for debate where it's going to be. It can probably be on the next banner, and then it's going to be really good. Kind of cheesy and slimy in my opinion, because if you're pulling for his costume, you're using your resources, and now if you have to pull in a separate banner for his weapon, you're spending max 36,000 for his costume and then a whole bunch of other blue crystals and RNG to get his weapon to OB whatever you're comfortable with. Up to OB6, OB10, OB1, 2, 3. You're now spending so much resources because they didn't put it into the same banner. And I don't know why they wrote it here like that, telling us hey, there was a weapon, but we decided to put it somewhere else, where they didn't need to write that at all. Now that you know that's there, it's why? Why did you do that? So that's weird. I don't like that. But at the same time, I like Red 13's costume. If you can notice, I'm on page 2 of the polls. I did pull for Red 13. He is a character that I enjoy, I really like, and I want to work on. And this is the first costume I felt like I can bite into that was going to increase his damage to a point that I enjoy. Now, this Red, I could make him go a little bit stronger than this. I think I'm just using an event weapon, so let's just throw something like there on there, and here we go. So, Red 13, sitting at 6,400, 4,000 physical attack. Right, his main setup using Ifrit to amplify his costume, but I want to start off with Red 13 because you can't see his costume in the banner. So if you guys are wondering what he looks like, this is what Red 13 looks like with his new costume. He looks so good, so freaking good. So I pulled for him because I really like this character. His costume is actually fantastic as well, but it's not the next best thing. Right? Mastery class has 20% increase in damage. Arcanum class has 35%. We've got this new Flame Frost Fangs, which has a mixture, a jack of all trades sort of thing when it comes to fire and ice. We've got fire and ice resist 20%, but we got fire and ice ability damage plus 15%, which again, Mastery is 20, Arcanum's 35. So it's not the strongest, it's not the next meta, but it is increased to Red 13. So in the take of this, if you like Red 13, then go for it. It's going to help. It's going to make him stronger. He's going to be able to use him in more cases. HP has survivability, and now he's got double element increase to damage. But no weapon on this banner, which makes it, if you don't have Rage Collar, you're not going to utilize this costume at all. And there is no ice weapon on his setup. So if you go into his setup, there's no ice weapon in here, right? You have the one fire weapon. You can see the fire symbol, but nothing else has an element on it. So, that being said, Red is currently in a place where, again, they gave him justice, but they didn't really give him that amazing banner he deserves. So, that's the Red 13. If you guys really like him, you can make it work. If you don't want to put that much effort into it, he's definitely able to skip once again, and you don't have to worry about it. All right, so next up is Tifa. Tifa's banner is really strong depending on what you got, depending on how much you can invest in. This is going to be broken down into multiple places. If you only have enough to pull for the costume, you're only going to get that costume. All right. I spent 30,000 on this banner. I didn't get any extra weapons on Tifa's gloves. And you guys saw what my red 13 looked like. So if you're pulling for this, you're dedicating your blue crystals to one of these crossover event banners. They're limited. You do not get to wishlist these in the future, and you have to use weapon parts. If you already have Tifa's other weapon from the Final Fantasy IX crossover, you're now fighting for 2 weapons to use those weapon parts, and we don't get enough weapon parts in this game to justify that. So you have to be in a position where your Final Fantasy IX weapon is already at OB6 plus, and you're going to be dumping a bunch of blue crystals on here. So little warning, yes, the hype is huge on her, very powerful setup. There is another banner coming out for sure. We're not sure if we're going to get 3. We got 3 last time, but there will be a second one. Again, if Tifa's your main, it doesn't matter what I say here, but do be aware that you're gonna have to go deep on these banners in order to get this. If you only pull 1 copy of this weapon, it's useless. And I mean that by the R ability aspect. It still has good non-elemental damage, but you gotta have to invest. And they made it easier, with that being said, to invest because on page 2, there's an extra 2 copies of the weapon. So not only on page 1, you're guaranteed that first one that's in 6 stamps, but on the second page of the stamp, if you get to the second page and you get on the 4th section here, another copy and another copy, and anything you're lucky in between. So OB16 plus this weapon is very possible in a less amount of gems. Even on page 3 behind me, there's another one over here. So if you go 3 page deep, you are guaranteed all those 4 copies. So OB3 wallpaper, right, is guaranteed. After that, it's all RNG, and that can cost you and cost you and cost you and cost you. So if you guys are investing in these, you're pulling for the costumes and crossing your fingers you get up to OB6, because that's where you want to be. OB7 realistically, because it really helps the R abilities, but OB6 for that true damage C ability out of this weapon. Now, with that being said, it is much easier to get multiple copies. Is Tifa good? Yes. It's Cowgirl Tifa. What? Look how good this looks. This looks amazing. Everything about this looks great. All right, it's Tifa. You can't go wrong. She's exactly how she should look and more. Now, let's talk about the costume. The costume adds this thing that Final Fantasy IX didn't. And if you have the Final Fantasy IX costume, you're okay. You don't need to pull for this. You still have a powerful Tifa, but this brings Tifa into the top tier DPS section for non-elemental, and even elements can still benefit from this because it's increase in damage. So key factor number 1, it's not HP, it's boost attack plus 10. And this is going to be very important to keep in mind because Tifa lacks in this category unless you use 2 specific weapons. So having boosted plus 10 is huge, but she's got this new R ability, which is physical ability mastery. It's only 15% again, but this is separate from the attack gauge that we're going to get from the weapons. So you're going to max out that weapon attack gauge really easily, and then there's a bonus 15%. So she is built to be a very hard-hitting, non-elemental DPS. Even in an element, this still benefits it by 15%. So it's not 35, but with her weapon and her other kit from Final Fantasy IX, it is fantastic. Now, if you missed Final Fantasy IX, I'll talk about that in a second, but let's be realistic here. 16 and 12. If you only get 1 copy, 16 and 12 is nothing. It is almost nothing, especially as a sub weapon. You're only going to get 8 and 6 boosts, right? It's got 650% non-elemental damage. Its special materia slots are really good. You have X Sigil and fire attack boost 30%. In Ascent, you can look at Red 13's costume. He increases fire damage by 15. This gives you your fire ability of materia, an extra 10% boost. It's not the same because you have a C ability where this only classifies towards your fire materia, not your Ifrit summon, but it's a 10% increase compared to the other slots. So I had Tifa who was fully maxed out doing 32,000 fire damage just with their materia and this glove on. And that's a powerful Tifa, not a 1 copy. So with that being said, if you do go deep and you go OB6, you are now looking at 2332. Which my voice is going. Sorry, I'm coughing and everything, but I'm a little bit sick in the throat. I'm trying. 23 and 32. That is huge. right? Boost physical ability potency is huge. At fully maxed out, it is 2748. You're 7 points away from maxing this out, and that's why the costume is fantastic. Because right here at the bat, 70% increased damage, 7 more points, you're at 80, and then you can't increase her damage anymore. So the Final Fantasy 9 costume is no longer needed. You need her new costume to get the next level of damage. So this is a fantastic addition, and on top of it, the costume gave 10 physical attack, so 10 plus that, 27 here, you're at 35 points right away, 30% increased damage. You only need another 18 points to fully max this out. Excuse me. So that's very easy to do with one physical attack weapon. Overall, if you do max this out, fantastic. Now let's be realistic here. You guys are aiming for OB6, and that's going to get you to 33 points, which you're going to have to do Black Whiskers, Bald Eagle, not Rage Collar, Motor Drive. There's weapons that have 54 physical attack, but only at maxed out. So you're going to have one of those maxed out weapons to only take one slot in order to give that max physical attack. Now, this is Cloud's weapon in every sense of damage, right? It goes up to 1300 physical non-elemental with crit. So the fact that she can boost all this with her costume, it makes her top tier DPS, right? You're going to max out those R abilities, no problem, especially if you use Automatic in the back that has boost attack and more attack stance, right? You're just going to go higher and higher and higher, and then you can put in like Heavy Hauser, Shinra Blade, making her absolutely a beast in non-elemental. And even in fire element, or just throwing some materia on there with all that attack stance, it just is crazy amount of damage, right? So with that being said, if you just pull for the costume, very powerful. If you go for the whole setup, extremely powerful. Now, my Tifa, a little bit of an example. If you guys don't get the costume, don't get overboost, you're looking at this, right? 3100 attack. I've got R abilities of 55, which is maxed out. I've got HP because of my Amaranth clubs, and you guys can see boost attacks at 23. My sub weapons are these, which has 46 boost attack, and that's what I was saying. OB6 Bald Eagle gives you 46, which is 23 points, and with the 23 plus 10, 33, you get to 56, right? So that boost attack is fully there. Now, realistically, if you guys only get the one weapon, you're only getting an increase of that. So it's really hard to mix and match boost attack and physical attack to get higher stats. This has to get over boosted. If you guys don't have the Final Fantasy 9 weapon, you either throw in Motor Drive in there, or you throw in the Christmas Gloves because they both have boost attack R ability on it. Now, for sub weapons, once you do that, you're going to be looking at something like this. So this is my viewer Gong. He loves Tifa. He gets everything Tifa. He's got fully maxed out new weapon. He's got the Final Fantasy, Tifa's ice weapon, and he's got the Final Fantasy 9 weapon at OB5. He's got attack of 4200. He's looking at 7500 HP, and that's his sub abilities. Maxed out boost attack, maxed out boost attack ability potency, and boost attack at 37. He also has the other boost ability because of Heavy Hauser there. So you can see what a fully maxed out version of Tifa looks like. It's very, very powerful, right? And then you got my version, which if I don't go deep in the banner, I'm stuck at 3100 with this setup if I want to use this weapon. If I change it to like Motor Drive or something, not going to do anything for me because the other weapon is more powerful. If I do switch the main one into the main hand, it goes to 3148 because we lose that boost attack potency down to 48, right? And we're not increasing anything else. So you have to have very specific setups for these to work to make them strong, but the costume alone is very powerful. So overall, the gloves are really good if you can get them to OB6, because at OB6, great art abilities and 1140 non-physical damage. Very powerful unit, max out 13. You've seen Zidane Cloud go nutso on all the content, but you've also seen my Murasami Cloud Arcanum setup and other people's Arcanum setups that you don't need to hit the weakness. You just got to use that powerful setup. So using a powerful Arcanum setup is the equivalent of this. So if you have Ice Tifa fully maxed out, you'll be hitting tons of damage with that. This will be hitting every enemy, every element, doesn't matter, at really high damage. And you can use materia for elemental damage to get the attack boost from the attack stance gauge. So this is up to you guys. Tifa, very powerful. If you guys are going to increase her damage, I showed you what Gong's Tifa looks like. I showed you what my Tifa looks like. judge it by how many blue crystals you have, and just go ahead and have fun with the game. I went for Red 13. Let me know what you guys went for down below. I'm very, very curious, because there is going to be another banner, and it could be very powerful. You also have Yuffie's banner, which is ending soon, and that's a very powerful wind character because she has a buffing weapon for 2 attacks. There's a lot of choices here. A lot of choices. You're not going to have Tifa's weapon on the next banner, so you can't just wait for the next banner and then get Tifa's weapon because it's crossover. They kept them all separate unless they change that. Overall, I think Tifa is a fantastic addition. Red 13 is a nice upgrade, but in the end, the choice is yours. So good luck on your polls. I hope you get the best of luck. Besides that, thank you so much for watching. Keep on smiling, and I'll smell you later.